Wyatt is really weird these days. On the one hand, he's like a nice, friendly kids TV presenter, and on the other, he's a crazy monster thing that you wouldn't want to see even in the brightness of day. And as I am saying these words, he is gearing up for a match against Finn Balor at SummerSlam. He may have already had that match by the time you've seen this video, and let's hope that the Fiend, Bray Wyatt's crazy alter ego, has absolutely demolished Finn Balor. I know you love Finn Balor, I know you love his abs, you just want to touch them and go, ooh, feel these abs. That is what needs to happen. We've also seen the dark side of all of this though, as he has gone on to attack Kurt Angle and Mick Foley, and after he has done all that, he then goes on social media and apologizes to them, and he's also apologized to the likes of John Cena and The Rock. So really, Bray Wyatt is very, very sorry for the Fiend. Why? Let me in. Here's why. Let's begin this bizarre investigation by studying one of Bray Wyatt's latest tweets, this one aimed at the Olympic gold medalist. Dear @real Kurt Angle, using Twitter there in the way that it's meant to be used. As a young man, I idolized you. Today is no different. I hope you can understand. I'm sorry for what I have done. I wish you knew how much. This time it all has to be perfect. Revenge is a confession. Now, don't ignore the fact that there is technically 3 eyes in that paragraph, because the way that Wyatt wrote it on Twitter was in individual lines, so when you look down the page, it had those 3 eyes. Now, I don't know if that was intentional, but that is why this persona is so damn good. You can start looking for things, and sometimes they're meant to be there, and sometimes they're not. Or maybe sometimes Bray Wyatt puts it out there so you think it's something, but in actual reality, it means nothing. And that's what I want. I just want some depth in my pro wrestling. It makes it feel more adult and more mature. It also draws a line between all the different personas that are currently in Wyatt's head, and I think we've all agreed the conclusion we've come to is they represent the puppets we have seen on the Firefly Funhouse. That's why Husky Harris the pig is like overweight, because at one point people were criticizing Bray for being too big, and Sister Abigail represents when he was made to dress up like a woman, and that just died an absolute death. And we all know what happened to Wyatt version 1. He was so close to becoming one of the most important superstars in WWE, and then he fell by the wayside because even though he could say amazing words on the microphone, he never won a damn feud. But this time, let's hope that WWE are actually going to hit a home run. Bray also straight up said sorry and thank you to Mick Foley after he had mandible clawed him to hell. And again, like we've already said, he went and did the same to John Cena. And never, ever, ever forget that when John Cena faced Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, fans were livid and fans lost their minds because Bray didn't get the victory at the Show of Shows. Many people now look back to that event and go, man, maybe if the Eater of Worlds had been pushed then and had beaten someone like John Cena, which is how wrestling worked, we wouldn't even need to be having this conversation right now. We wouldn't have even needed to revamp Bray Wyatt in the first place. And it was the same when he had that encounter with The Rock, also at WrestleMania. I mean, some are still saying The Rock is walking up and down that aisle, setting fire to his name, because as we know, he took around about 107 years to do that. And by the time the Wyatts and the Great One had interacted in the ring, I think we could all agree that The Rock may as well have just got a shovel and thrown all 3 of them in there. It didn't help Bray at all, but now he is both sorry about it and thankful, and he even said to The Rock he thought that Jumanji was fire. I haven't seen it, but I'll take his word. With all of this though, we do need to focus on this thank you, on this appreciation, because it almost seems like Bray Wyatt is getting something from being allowed to beat up these victims. Like the nice version of Bray Wyatt starts to feel nicer and nicer, but only when he's allowed to transform into the Fiend and go out there and do these dastardly acts. It's like every time he does do that, Bray's own slate is wiped clean, and any mistake he made previously is rubbed off the board. So anytime he dropped the ball or said the wrong thing or lost the match, it doesn't matter, because the Fiend is going out there and righting all the wrongs. If we dip back into the Angle tweet, Wyatt specifically quoted revenge is a confession. If you do go find the elongated version of that, the whole thing is revenge is a confession of pain. Or that if you do go and seek revenge on someone, it's admitting that you're struggling within. In this, guys, that does seem to be Bray struggling with his own demons and getting caught up in his own brain to the point he has to go out there and make people his victim, just so that on the other side, he doesn't feel as bad about himself. The creature goes out there to exercise all this badness, and in many ways is a bit like Batman. That may sound a little bit ridiculous, but there are similarities, because when it does come to Bruce Wayne, the guy that puts on a mask and then runs around Gotham as the Dark Knight, it ain't Batman who's the guy trying to hide his personality from the world, it's Bruce Wayne, because Bruce Wayne is so screwed up after the death of his parents, he cannot adapt and he cannot live in normal civilization. He has to go out there as this vigilante to try and calm his pain down, to try and get rid of his guilt. And that is exactly what Bray Wyatt is doing now. Wyatt feels wronged by his past, so he's transformed into this absolute monster, but he keeps one foot in the real world by being the smiley, friendly kid TV presenter guy, the guy that you could see on your screen and go, I'd love to meet him. I bet we'd have some tea and cake, but you wouldn't, he'd eat your face. Who knew a wrestling character could have so much depth? And if nothing else, it is finally working. I know not everybody agrees with that. There's still the odd wrestling fan that has their own thoughts and feelings, but at least it's allowing you to think and feel, because there are plenty of characters out there you just look at and go, well, you're just a boring dude. So this really does make you care. And of course, I realize that we're not out of the woods yet. We're kind of in the same territory we were with Bray Wyatt, in the sense that the spectacle and the persona and the personality have ticked all the boxes. But now when he transitions into a ring, he's got to start winning matches. He's got to start winning programs. And really, before the end of 2019, he probably needs to have won a world championship so he can say, I'm a terrifying being, I am a threat, and you better start taking me seriously, otherwise, again, I'll eat your face. WWE has got to put the machine right behind him, because he is the most interesting thing in the company right now, and really, nobody else comes close. So don't do that thing you usually do, WWE, where you're like, well, we didn't really want him to be the most interesting thing in the company, so we won't push him. Just push him like he's on a train. It also opens the door for World Wrestling Entertainment to secure something they should have been looking at for a while, and that is the new version of The Undertaker. That doesn't mean we put him in a hat and a big cloak and start saying that he's the undead. I mean taking what that Undertaker gimmick meant to so many people and pasting it onto a modern day product. Because Mark Calloway will eventually retire, or we hope so. Sometimes you have to question if he's ever actually going to do it. And when he does, there is going to be this huge hole, this huge void in WWE where we lack somebody who does whatever it is he's been doing for the last 30 years or so. Someone that doesn't go out there on social media, doesn't cut interviews in his real personality, and keeps the mystique and keeps that magic alive. We really need that because it's so unique to pro wrestling, and it should be protected. That was always the cool thing about Taker, is that he felt so far away from public view, just a little teeny bit deep down inside of you maybe believed he was a zombie man that had come back from the grave. And Bray Wyatt seems to be all over that. He seems to enjoy it, he seems to love it, it seems to fuel his creativity and his passion. So if he wants to do it, let him do it. And yeah, let him become the new Undertaker in the sense of what the Undertaker was. Again, don't make him exactly the same. If you want to go the other way too, if we do drop the ball one more time with Wyatt, it will likely be one time too many. There's only so many times you can G the fans up and let them down before they go, I just can't be arsed with it anymore. And this Firefly Funhouse has done, well, it's done so well, and it's been such a success that to disappoint even 10 people, you've probably lost them for good. It also gets really old having this intimidating figure that doesn't back up his words. I mean, Dolph Ziggler struggled with that. At the moment, Drew McIntyre is struggling with that. But Bray Wyatt is different because Bray Wyatt doesn't fit into the mold of anybody else you've got on your roster. That instantly makes him unique. That instantly makes him original. That instantly makes him novel. And they're the things you need to have in your company. As long as one guy's got it, you don't have to worry about it anywhere else. Because if you do that, he will end up being a fool just wearing a mask. It's all about context. If I popped up on a wide video wearing the Fiend mask and just started waving my arms around and slapping my head and talking about ups and downs and golden ups and brown downs, you'd be like, Miller, you just look like an absolute dick. But if I was able to kind of stare down the camera lens and convince you that you're in trouble, all of a sudden it would take on a new guise. The alternative is you just go, Miller, you look like some knockoff from Slipknot, go and think of something else, and that would be fair. But let's not do that to Bray Wyatt. Go and read these tweets if you haven't already and investigate them. Put on your detective hat and see what you can figure out, because he's certainly trying to tell us something, and that has been one of the most interesting things that WWE has allowed a character to do for some time. He thanks them, he apologizes, and then the next week on Raw and SmackDown, he's just doing it again. It's like he's filling up his evil tanks while also trying to be the best person in the world. Bray Wyatt, you get a salute. You have absolutely smashed it. I love your new direction. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know everything that you think about this new Bray Wyatt character, especially the name, The Fiend. I mean, it ain't the best, isn't it? I'm pretty sure we could have come up with something different, but whatever. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE, and watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon from What Culture. Thank you very much for watching, and let's hope in 6 months' time, Bray Wyatt is not only the most over and successful thing in the WWE, but maybe that it's kind of enticed a few people back in because they like the hocus pocus, and they like that, again, it's quite adult. I know kids that cannot watch Bray Wyatt, they cannot watch The Fiend, because when he does start doing his let me in stuff, they are absolutely terrified and they don't want to sleep at night. See, we can have a PG product without it being PG, and we didn't need to swear, we didn't need any nudity, we didn't need any hot lesbian action, which was actually a thing that I remembered about the other day, and I realized maybe I shouldn't watch wrestling anymore, and I had to explain it to a friend, and they hated me, and I hated myself too. Of course I would. There's ways and means. We've got a ways and means. Let's all support Bray Wyatt. See ya.